adjourning our regular meeting, Medford Township convening. Thank you. The Medford Township Council meeting, January 7th, 2014. Public meeting statement. Notice this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting a copy of the agenda on the bulletin board at the municipal building and on the township website, filing a copy of the agenda in the township of the office of the township clerk at the municipal building, forwarding a copy of the agenda to the central record in Burlington County Times, forwarding written notice to each person who has requested copies of the regular meeting schedule. All the above posting, filing, and mailing had taken place on the 3rd of January 2014. Rise to the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, communications. Roll call.
Mr. Beanstalk?
Here.
Mr. Checkeye?
Here.
Mr. Pace?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Watson?
Here.
Mayor Buoni?
Here. Okay, communications. A special presentation from the manager.
I just want to let everybody know, we received, we were due, I think we had a council meeting, so we were unable to attend, but Medford Township last year adopted a complete streets policy, and we were recognized by Rutgers, their transportation arm, along with the Department of Transportation, and we did receive a plaque in recognition of our local complete streets policy. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. And we did use the policy when we paved Fairview, and it'll be continued as we go ahead and doing road programs. And we also, when we spoke to the county, when they're going to repave Main Street, we asked them to look at features, and they're going to paint bike sharrows on the road when they redo Main Street, because we do have a lot of bike traffic. But I just want everybody to know that we are following the policy as we do these projects.
My coworker's been leaning on you to start biking, so maybe you'll take advantage of it. Any communications? Scheduling items. January 21st, 2014 will be the next Township Council meeting. That will be held here at the Public Safety Building at 7:30 p.m. Next we have approval of the minutes. We've got, where is that? July of 16, 2013 executive. That's a public release version. The December 17th regular meeting, December 17th executive meeting, December 17th. Again, these are all 2013. The public release version, the December 23rd regular meeting minutes, the December 23rd executive meeting minutes, and also the December 23rd executive public release version of the meeting minutes. And just to remind people that, as we are able to release our executive session meeting minutes, we do. So we want to try and get all of our things out in the public as quickly as possible. So the public version will have some items redacted as soon as it's appropriate to release to the public. They will be released to the public. Can I get a motion? First of all, does everyone have a chance to review the meetings? Are there any comments or changes? Okay. Get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First, just to advise the status of the LEAD program, we are about as of the report last week, we're 75% through Zone 4, and we still have Zones 5 and 1 to do before going back to 2 and 3. We obviously have been delayed with some of the weather patterns over the last few weeks, but as crews will be getting out. Also in that time frame, we did demo a piece of equipment called the Predator. It was a one-arm operation that also compacts, some of the feedback was positive. There's some things we have concerns about. It has to be housed. If it gets any kind of dampness and cold weather, the compaction part freezes up, so it's got to be housed before it can come back out. It's a one-man operation, but if you have some frozen leaves, it can be a 2-man, which is still less than what we have out now with our current crews. We have 3 to 4-man crews right now. So we're going to, finalize the evaluation and decide how we're going to move forward and try to utilize some investment in technology to offset the manpower issues. Just to be clear, because I did get an email from a resident who compared us to some private work, that crew is half private. We do supplement with private outsourced staffing. So if you're going to compare us, make sure you understand you are comparing us to apples and not saying because we're a public entity and things of that nature. So that our operators are driving, and then we have other, we have outsourced temporary employees helping with the collection of those rules. Any questions on the leave program?
No, I was on my way to the Eagles game, and I said out loud, I'm so glad we're ahead of schedule with the leaves. I think that's when they get into the snow.
That's all right.
So I do want to comment on it, though, just because of the fact that we were ahead of schedule up to that point. I mean, we've had a lot more efficiency with regards to how they, with the benchmarking program.
Up
We should comment on
until
that.
the first snowstorm, we were operating 4 pieces of equipment, which was more than they had run in the last couple of years. We have 5, we can keep 1 in reserve in case one breaks down. Then we had the snow events hit, and then the holidays with some staffing off.
Right.
When you have 10 people and you have a couple, 2-3 people out, it minimizes what you're able to do. And I'll get a little more into the manpower when we talk about snow, so people have a perspective of what we're dealing with there.
I had an email from a resident today who lives in Zone 2 on Carrollville Road, and she said that she was asking actually if we could sort of speed things up to get back to Zone 2, because she said her road, in fact, I guess her neighbors had piled all their leaves in the roadway, and that roadway isn't a wide roadway anyway. And she said that it's basically 1 lane of travel there, so perhaps it might be worthwhile to maybe take a ride over there and see what's happening.
That's fine. I remind people, the ordinance states that the leaves are to be curbside or along the gutter line, not in the street. And we did go into one neighborhood and the police went door to door because they had the whole lane of traffic blocked off. We're not a market provider. We move as fast as we can and get what we can, and it is slow going. We collect 13,000 to 15,000 cubic yards of leaves annually. We collect an awful lot of leaves, and but we'll check that out. Any other questions?
No?
No, actually, I did get to see the unit in operation, and aside from the overall length, I think we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, it is a long piece of equipment. It will not get into certain areas, but again, this is not going to take over what we already are using. Is to try to get more resources out there with what manpower we have and continuing with the supplemental staff.
And the thing about it that I like is, it relies heavily on automation, so it's more efficiency with less.
I mean, the question is the durability of it. I mean, it sounds like you're explaining it's a little temperamental with moisture.
Yeah, there are some towns up North Jersey that I've gotten specs from that use these types of equipment. So as we're doing our due diligence, we'll continue to ask questions, before we decide to put a spec together.
But I mean, it's really only a cold issue.
Yes, once they brought it in and it thawed, and they got it go, and once it thawed,
not, I mean, if there's
the
a leak.
moisture in the air, it went out and performed.
Right.
So, yeah, it has to be housed at night.
Leaves presumably you're going to be picking up are wet.
Right.
I mean, you gotta presume
But
they're
the
wet.
video I shared with council, in the past, with our equipment, it had great difficulty picking up those frozen leaves, and you saw that thing.
Yeah, it was chilling.
It was moving pretty good, so. Okay, as far as snow operations, look, I apologize, I've been saying it since 2011. As we diminished the number of people we had, snow would be slow going. But I want to put it into perspective because some of the complaints we got compared us to Evesham. And again, if you're going to compare, especially with me, compare apples to apples. We have 225 road miles in Medford. That's road miles, that's not plow miles. It usually takes 4 passes to plow road curb to curb or salt. So you're looking at 1,000, upwards of 1,000, give or take, that's an average, miles of plowing going on. We have 12 people, 10 labor in our labor pool plus supervisors. And then at the current time, we had 3 per diem. We have 4 that we have applications for, so we're trying to get more bodies. We need bodies, we have equipment. So if you, again, in comparison, Evesham Township has 36 plow units on 175 road miles. So they have 50 less miles and almost 4 times the number of people we have. That's in a nutshell. Again, I apologize. Crews were out from 3 a.m. Friday morning, and they worked until 5 o'clock Sunday night. At the Friday, all 10 units were out, but over the weekend, we had, because of DOT regulations, we have to send people home for safety and rest. That diminishes the amount of people we have still going, so you're not going to have all 10 going at the same time. Our hope is through per diems and some other methods we're looking at is to have the like number of bodies. So in other words, if we can get 7 to 10 more per diems, when those guys come in, the per diems get on and go for 16 hours while our crews are resting, and we just keep them moving. Now, the one storm we shut the yard down, we got an earful from residents. Look, we have 10 people. The priority is snow removal, not the yard being open for people to bring trash. I apologize, but again, last Thursday, while we were trying to prepare for the storm, we had 3 people handling the yard. We had 1 leaf crew because, again, we're trying to get as much leaves up before these storms yet, and we had everybody else dealing with the preparation of the vehicles for the storm. We may have to close the yard. Again, I apologize, but our priority is preparing and getting ready and getting what we can get out for those storms. We are now, Medford historically has not pre-treated. I authorized to look into brining, pre-treatment equipment. I'm starting to get numbers together. The theory is that if we pre-treat, we could have started pre-treating as early as Tuesday. And if anybody understands brine is a mixture of salt and water, and you need a 23.3% salinity level. Once it's applied to the roadway, it's already active. Salt is not active in weather like this. It's too cold. There's no chemical reaction going on. Salt is not for traction. We get a lot of people calling. Salt is not a traction for traction. It is a chemical agent to get under the snow and break it down and keep it mushy. So the thought process is that because of our priority, we hit all our main roads that we're required to do, our collector roads, and then we get into the neighborhoods. And I know people in cul-de-sacs don't like that, but the theory is, and it's pretty much across the board, if you had to get from the cul-de-sac to a collector road in your neighborhood, which the collector road would be at least passable to get you to a county and/or state highway system to get out. The problem we're having in Medford, the county roads were terrible, and it wasn't just Medford. I drove to Mount Laurel Saturday night, and I'm in an all-wheel drive vehicle going up Church Road all the way to Church Street, and it was snow. So I don't know what's going on with the county. It's something we sent them almost hourly requests to get out here and take care of their roads, and they have several in Medford. So the theory with brine is, I'm jumping all over, but what we'd like to do is if we can get brine equipment, we pre-treat reverse. We go into the neighborhoods first, and we pre-treat the cul-de-sacs and work our way out because we have time. You have up to potentially 72 hours to do that. That way, that element is already active under there, and as people try to get out before we get there and start packing it down, it's not packing. Friday morning, as traffic got out there, once it was packed down, our plows pop up over top of what's already packed down. There's no play in it. We're just brushing over top. With the brine, that stays slushy, so when we finally get there, it's going to move.
Well, it stays slushy, assuming the temperature.
Yeah, but again, it's already liquid, and it soaks into the cracks, so it's already putting a seal kind of between the pavement and whatever's going to come on top of it. So we're trying again to use technology, given our staffing levels. It's only we only got a handful of complaints. I'm sure there are other people not happy. But at the end of the day, every person who complained that they couldn't get anywhere, they got to wherever they were going. Because I heard we went to Evesham, to Clementon, to this town, to that town. Okay, you were able to get out. I was able to get out. It may, and my theory is, and people might not like this, we live in a society that wants to go 50 and a 25 all the time. And on a snowstorm, you might have to go 10. The amount of money we spend, and we're watching the weather patterns too. Again, a lot of people don't, we're watching what's going to happen Sunday night into Monday. And we're out there putting money down, salt, knowing that it's all going to wash away in a couple hours, 2 hours. It's a lot of variables. You could get a snowfall. Mr. Beanstalk did ask me what was different about the 9 inches a few weeks ago. The type of snow you get. In a former town, we moved 30 inches of snow a lot quicker than a 9-inch storm one time because the 9-inch storm had 4 times the water volume. It was a wet snow, it's harder to push. So you got these variables. It's frustrating, I know, but we're still trying to figure this out, and we're going to do the best we can.
Well, in this case, the temperature drops so quickly, you don't just turn the ice.
Yeah.
I think the brining equipment is a worthwhile, something we should look into, absolutely.
I've already looked into it, and I will touch base on that with council at another point, but we're also in transition of a public works director. And there's a reason, I'm pushing that, I'll just, without getting into personnel issues, I'm pushing to get the person we've identified as the replacement on board. Because, we need to take Medford, as you said, we turn the page. Now it's time to invest time and effort in public works. The biggest complaint we get are our public works services, which took a hit just like everybody else had. So now, I'm hoping 2014 is the year we start taking it. We handled brush. Now we got to refocus, still work on the leaf program and snow. We're even looking at how some of the snow routes right now and how we do snow. There was one neighborhood, for whatever reason, we didn't get there until much late on Saturday. There's got to be, I call them red and green routes. There's got to be red and green routes almost everywhere in the town so that each neighborhood has a red and a green route available to them. And then you get into your cul-de-sacs. So we're revisiting all of that. But again, if we may be shutting the yard down, I'm just going to, again, we need all hands focused on the storm. And
During the snow event.
yeah, like I said, we could have made, if the yard wasn't open, I would have put another leaf truck out to continue getting leaves off the ground.
We should just institute a policy that 24, 48 hours prior to a potential snow event, when there's been a watch issued, the yard shut down no matter what. Just shut it down.
And there are other things we can do. We have a lot of neighborhoods that have off-street parking available to them. Where do people park? In the street. It slows us down. Courts and cul-de-sacs, when you plowing is not just straight and the snow's pushed off. When you get into cul-de-sacs, some of these neighborhoods in Medford were built without dead spots. And what a dead spot is an area to push the snow in a cul-de-sac. The planning boards, and I'm venting, I'm sorry, when you plan towns and developments, they don't look at these features and how it's going to impact the service levels of how we perform and operate. It's unfortunate. It's in my 17 years, you see it in every town. And so these are features we got to overcome. But yeah, I'm probably going to come to council with an ordinance. If off-street parking is available and we declare a snow emergency, those cars got to go somewhere. They got to go somewhere. We need to keep, so we can be as quick and as efficient, again, given our resources. So we're going to revisit all this. It's ongoing now. But I just want to be, I've been blunt before, I'm being blunt with the community. If you're not happy, I apologize, but the crews were out, they did the best they can. They moved as they could move.
Mr. Manager, I just want to make sure that I understand the manpower and the equipment that we have. So for this storm, we had 10 employees who are available to drive.
Yeah, we have staff, our staffing level is we have a director, 2 supervisors, 2 working foremen, and 10 employees. That's our level.
We had 10 snow plowing trucks that were available.
Yes.
So initially we were able to use all 10, but because of the
The hour restriction for safety reasons that were in place, we then had to start staggering.
Yes,
So as it went on, we didn't have all 10 trucks available.
Correct.
Because we lacked the manpower.
right.
And so that's part of the reason it took so long to get to the whole town.
Mhm.
Thanks.
So, any questions, further comments on that?
No, thank you, and
All right.
obviously, I keep looking at that.
I kind of looked, I just want to go over some of the things I work on, that obviously council will set some priorities for us for the year, but the manager always has some stuff he's working on. Obviously, some of this is carryover, just because of our workload last year. The one item not finished as part of the reform is the purchasing manual and the associated ordinance. That will be done in the first quarter. We are now working on a capital improvement funding policy. We're modeling how much we can budget annually to do a capital program that's sustainable in our budget, that keeps our debt service level without major spikes. And even as it's coming down, we're able to budget an annual amount of money to do roads, drainage, equipment, and keep it consistent and sustainable within the budget model. We are going to finalize the salary ordinance, and we're also doing a lot of position title kind of evaluations on whether we need titles here or people should have other titles. We are now in the process, council approved funding. We're implementing the web project, the website, which will also have customer or citizen relations management. The public will be able to interact through the web, through phone applications and whatnot to get us, pothole, okay, come in through an email and we can get it out that way. We expect the website to be up and operating by April. It's going to be a big effort. We're creating a knowledge base. Basically, the knowledge base is any question you might have of the town, you should be able to go to the website and ask the question and get an answer without having to call. So, that's one of the big features. The virtual public record library will be more on the tail end, so that may not be part of the April rollout, but it'll be done. It'll be started in 2014. The video streaming, that'll be up. We're just now talking to the companies. I just issued the award letters because we had to wait for the estoppel period of the funding. So we're now trying to get our hands around training and things, installation and all that. So I'll report on that later. We're going to continue to look at outsourcing and/or shared services. In fact, the brine equipment, I've already talked to 2 towns who are interested, maybe not necessarily in acquisition of brine equipment, but purchasing through us. And there's a couple other agencies I want to talk to, maybe to help share part of that potential acquisition. We're going to conduct a facilities assessment. With our downsizing, we own several buildings that maybe we don't need anymore. So we're now in the process. Part of that funding was to do appraisals. We have proposals for appraisals. We have the assessor now evaluating them, make a recommendation to hire an appraiser to go out and assess and appraise these facilities and see, if we want to sell them, do something with them. But we really have a lot more facilities than, we become landlords. And, I want to try to condense that. Our stormwater drain pipes, we're creating a master plan. Over time, we've been doing pipe replacement under roadways, but the town really doesn't have a handle on how many we have. We know how many we have, but we're going to put it into a program. So what's been replaced, what's in good condition, what's in bad condition, what's in really bad condition. So again, build a cycle going forward of a replacement program. We're also going to get to do that with the roads eventually. Roads, obviously we have 225 miles of roads that we're going to have to figure out. Some of the roads are getting towards the end of their life cycle, and we have to figure out how we're going to pave them. We have to do storm drain fixture replacements. Under New Jersey law, all the storm drains have a fixture identifying them under the stormwater program. They were previously painted, the paint has faded. We're now going to the adhesive one. There's 3,500 of these in the town, and it's gonna be a 3-year program. We're gonna try to do a little over 1,000 a year. We're probably gonna reach out to scout groups and other groups. A lot of towns do that. They go out and get volunteers to go around just to fix onto the storm drains. So that's a program we're putting ahead. Talked about website. I unveiled a reorganization plan last year. That's going to be tweaked a little bit and then finalized and brought back to council. Originally, it was my intention to try to find a director of neighborhood services who could oversee public works, utility, and community development. It was clear with the applications, you were either strong in public works, utilities, or strong in community development. And my feeling right now is our focus is public works and that side of the house. And so I've targeted that person to there, and we'll deal with community development another way. That's kind of things right now that jumped out at me while I was thinking the other day.
Your plate is full, is what you're saying.
So, that's all I have there.
We have this one line item on our discussion items list, and that's the sign ordinance amendment.
I listed that, just, council really had to discuss it. Do you want a draft amendment to come back with those recommendations and then start the discussion there? Or, because we didn't get really any feedback from council.
Well, I think the one thing that was pretty clear from our conversations, I don't think we like the idea of putting
the advertising.
Yeah, the advertising part of it needs to go, and that component of it. Personally, the requiring the metering and having the background light impact as it gets darker, the sign getting darker. That's a good practice as far as I'm concerned, and I'm okay with adding that language. It should be standard functioning, and if you look at a good example of that, it's a sign at Himline and Hartford there. The church, Presbyterian Church? Methodist Church, thank you. That sign at night is actually hard to read. I mean, it's a good brightness for the day, but at nighttime you can't read it because it's so bright. It would do well to mute that sign just for visibility, among other things.
So what I would suggest that is, if you have comments, get them to us so I can get them to Michelle Taylor.
Right.
And then we'll put together a draft and then have it for another discussion so council can prepare it for.
Individual council members submit comments to you?
Yeah, send me your feedback and then I'll send them on to Michelle Taylor and then we can put a draft together and council can then have a document in front of them that they can mark up and finalize for.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Public comments, a 5-minute limit on comments. If you are interested in making a comment, please come to the microphone. The most important thing is state your name and address for the record. Do we have any public comments? And seeing none, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to close public portion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment period is closed. Bill list. The December 27th bill list, it was submitted. Assuming everybody had a chance to review it, had all the questions answered. Looks like there's no additional comments on that. So I guess motion to approve the bill list for December 27th, 2013.
Make a motion to approve the bill list.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So that is approved. Ordinance for second reading, none. Ordinance for first reading, none. So we do have some additional consent agenda resolutions. By additional, we had some that were part of our reorg meeting. We have Resolution 12-2014, approving request for final release of maintenance guarantee, Crossroads Shopping Center, Mount Misery, Inc. SPR-5652. Resolution 13-2014, approving request for final release of maintenance guarantee, Fellowship Alliance Chapel, Phase 1A, SPR 5606F. And the third one is Resolution 14-2013, or -2014 rather, 2013 Appropriation Reserve Transfers. Do we have any council comments on any of those resolutions? I'll make one comment, only with regards to Fellowship Alliance Chapel. I do attend there, as does Mr. Pace and Deputy Mayor Watson. Because three of us attend there, items like this, we're required to vote, because otherwise there would not
have a quorum.
Yeah, what's the phrase
It's
for that?
called the rule of necessity.
Rule of necessity, and I believe we're required to vote on it, we're not even allowed to recuse ourselves. So I don't see this as a conflict. Anyway, we're simply refunding some tax dollars, but I think it's important to point that out. So with that in mind, can I get a motion to?
Motion to approve consent agenda resolution.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks, Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, executive session. Resolution ES 01-07-2014. Got 4 sections. Matters related to the employment relationship, and that's for professional board appointments. Cited 10-4-12B. Relating to litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privileges, Medford Walk. That's 10-4-12B. 7. Matters relating to litigation, negotiations, and the attorney-client privilege, redevelopment, that's 10-4-12B, 7. And matters relating to the purchase, lease, or acquisition of real property for the investment of public funds, and that's the Muckenfuss property, and that is section 10-4-12B, 5.
And one addition, just a recent matter. Murphy versus Medford Township, is involving litigation and attorney-client privilege.
Okay, so it's Murphy versus Medford Township, and that's matters related to litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege. And again, that's 10-4-12, right? So I'm anticipating, what do we think, about less than a half hour?
I don't know.
We always
I
seem to
don't
get
know
along
how
more
words
things.
and all those board and professional privileges.
Okay, you could assume 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Action will likely be taken, I'll say, but may or may not be taken. And when we adjourn, so what do I do? Motion to approve executive resolution ES-107-2014.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will go into executive.